and welcome back. I'm Sonia Simek, and it's wonderful to have you here as we continue our Wholeness Series. In our first conversation, we explored the idea that wholeness begins with belonging. We discovered that healing doesn't start by fixing ourselves. It begins when we stop excluding parts of who we are. Today, I'd like to take that conversation a little deeper. We're going to explore the parts of ourselves we left behind. Perhaps you've noticed moments when you say something like, I don't know who I am anymore, or I used to be creative. I used to laugh more. I used to trust people. Somewhere along the way, I lost myself. From a systemic perspective, we don't usually lose ourselves. More often, we leave parts of ourselves behind because at one point in our lives, it felt safer to do so. Today, we're going to discover why that happens and how we can begin gently inviting those forgotten parts home. Think about a favorite childhood photograph. Perhaps you're running barefoot, laughing, building something, curious, fearless. Maybe there's a sparkle in your eyes. Now imagine that child standing beside you today. Would they recognize the person you've become? Not because you've changed. Change is natural. But because life has asked you to carry responsibilities, disappointments, expectations, and losses. Somewhere along the journey, many of us stopped expressing certain parts of ourselves, not because they disappeared, because they learned they were no longer safe. So let me tell you the story about the forgotten music room. Imagine a young girl who absolutely loves music. She sings everywhere, in the garden, in the kitchen, in the car. Music fills her whole life. And one afternoon, she sings in front of a group of adults. Someone laughs. Another tells her to stop making a noise. And someone else says, You're not really talented. The music doesn't disappear. It simply becomes silent. Years later, she tells people, I can't sing. And what she actually means is, at some point, I learned it wasn't safe to sing. The gift never left. The joy never disappeared. Only the permission did. I wonder how many rooms inside us have become quiet in exactly the same way. Not because we lacked ability, not because those parts died, because life taught us they weren't welcome. One of the most compassionate things we can understand about ourselves is this. Everything we became made sense. Every adaptation had purpose. Each protective behavior once served us. As children, we are completely dependent on our caregivers, and we don't have the freedom adults enjoy. Children naturally ask one unconscious question. Why do I need to stay connected? And the answer becomes our identity. If being helpful keeps love, we become helpful. If being invisible avoids conflict, we become invisible. If succeeding earns attention, we become achievers. If taking care of everyone creates peace, we become caretakers. These are not personality flaws. They are intelligent survival strategies. Systemic work invites us to honor these adaptations before we try change them. Why? Because every adaptation once protected something precious. Perhaps your perfectionism protected you from criticism. Perhaps your independence protected you from disappointment. And perhaps your people-pleasing protected relationships. Perhaps your control protected you from uncertainty. Before asking ourselves to let go of these behaviors, we first need to thank them. They worked very hard. I now want to look at what is the difference between survival and living. And there's a profound difference between surviving and living. Survival asks, how do I stay safe? And living asks, how do I become fully alive? The challenge is that many of us continue using survival strategies long after the danger has passed. The child who learned never to ask for help becomes the adult who carries everything alone. The child who became invisible becomes the adult who struggles to be seen. The child who had to be perfect becomes the adult who never feels good enough. The strategy remains, even though life has changed. Our nervous system often continues responding to yesterday's reality instead of today's possibilities. That isn't failure. It's simply unfinished learning. Let's now look at a systemic perspective where every part has a place. In family and systemic constellations, we often see that what has been excluded continues to seek inclusion. The same is true within us. The playful child still belongs. The dreamer still belongs. The sensitive heart still belongs. The curious explorer still belongs. And the creative artist still belongs. Even the frightened child belongs. None of these parts need to disappear. They simply need to take an appropriate place within the adult you are today. Wholeness doesn't mean becoming childlike again. It means allowing every season of your life to contribute to the person you are becoming. When we reject those younger parts, we often reject the gifts they carry. And sometimes our greatest creativity is hidden behind old embarrassment. Sometimes our deepest compassion grows from childhood loneliness, and sometimes our courage was born from surviving difficult circumstances. The goal isn't to erase the past. It is to integrate it with wisdom. When I reflect on my own journey, I realize there were many versions of me. The little girl who wanted to belong, the young woman trying to make sense of life, and the adult carrying responsibilities, the seeker searching for deeper understanding. Looking back now, I don't see separate people. I see one life. Every season contributed something important. Some seasons gave me joy. Others gave me resilience. And some gave me clarity. Others gave me compassion. None of them were wasted. And perhaps that is one of the greatest gifts of systemic wisdom. We stop asking, why did this happen to me? And begin asking, what became possible because this became part of my story? Think about this one again. What became possible because this became part of my story? I'd like to leave you with a few questions. Which part of yourself have you stopped expressing? When did that happen? Who or what convinced you that it wasn't welcome? If that younger part of you was sitting beside you today, what encouragement would you offer them? And perhaps most importantly, what gift has that forgotten part been waiting to bring back into your life? Let's do a little integration practice. Find a comfortable place to sit, take a slow breath in, and gently breathe out. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Now imagine meeting yourself at about 7 or 8 years old. Notice what that child is doing. Notice their face, their posture, their eyes. Walk towards them slowly and sit beside them. You don't need to rescue them. You don't need to change anything. Simply be present and now quietly say, I see you. Thank you for helping me survive. You don't have to carry everything anymore. You belong with me. Your joy belongs. Your curiosity belongs. Your fears belong. Your dreams belong. You are welcome. Imagine taking that child's hand and together you begin walking forward, not leaving the child behind, but also not becoming the child again. Simply allowing that younger part to walk with you as you continue your journey. Take another slow breath. Notice how your body feels. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Today, we've discovered that many parts we believe we've lost are not gone at all. They've simply been waiting, waiting for permission, waiting for safety, waiting to be welcome home. Healing isn't about becoming someone new. It is about reconnecting with the wisdom, creativity, tenderness, and strength that have always been part of you. And as you move through this week, notice moments when an old survival strategy appears. Rather than judging yourself, gently ask, what was this part once trying to protect? And that simple question often opens the door to compassion. In our next episode, we'll explore a belief that keeps so many people exhausted and connected. Why we mistake perfection for wholeness. We'll discover while striving to be perfect often moves us further away from ourselves, and why embracing our humanity brings us closer to genuine freedom. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What is the forgotten part of yourself you would like to welcome back into your life? If you found this helpful, please subscribe, share this video with someone who may need it, and continue this journey with me through wisdom-inspired living. Until next time, remember, the parts of you that helped you survive deserve your gratitude, and the parts of you that are ready to live deserve your welcome. And together they create the wholeness that has always been within you. Until next time, be safe.